You're listening to Rodney Rogers Outdoors Radio, where we turn it upside down and look at the outside from the inside out. It's safe, it's legal, and we're having a blast. So put your shoes on, my friend, because we're going outdoors.
Good evening, outdoors. Let's go see how long before you gave me the cross-eyed double look. I'm Rodney Rogers. This is Rodney Rogers Outdoors. Thank you so much for listening. My partner and co-cheese in crime.
Yes. Does your mama really? Did she used to really say?
She used to
get
say,
outside and
here's
stay?
what happened. Here's a story behind that one, Mike Coy. She would say every time we'd run in and out of the house. Now, growing up, I didn't have air conditioner, so we kept the doors as closed as possible, and then running in and out, let the heat in. Actually, I thought it let more air in. I don't know, but we were always on the run. So she would go, you kids either stay in the house or stay out. And then on the weekends, it would be, we'd be sitting in the house, and then she'd say, you kids get outside. Stay, when she was cooking or something like that. So it was always something.
So her context was slightly different than what we've imposed it to mean, but I like it.
Yeah. Slightly different.
Yeah, it's always an air conditioning thing, wasn't it?
No, we didn't have air conditioning.
Oh, you didn't even have air conditioning?
No, we had. The first time I had air conditioner was when I was old enough, had my own job, and rented a house for myself that had air conditioner. My dad didn't have air conditioner until I was 30. He finally put central AC in his house. We had the old cracker style house. The old, had the doors. You open both doors, front and back, and the wind.
Let the wind go through.
Excuse me, that's the old cracker style house.
Yeah, you know what's funny? Well, you know what's funny? I got to grab my phone over here because I want to show you something. We were in, if you didn't know, we're taking a trip out of the country.
We're going to talk about that.
A couple weeks. And so we were looking for raincoats, and this is totally unrelated. Kim wasn't so amused of it that I was. But inside the warning inside a Columbia raincoat was a tag. And this was the warning. It said, "Warning: this innovative product will make you go outdoors and stay there."
Stop.
And I meant to text it to you at the time, but I didn't.
The innovative product will make you want to go outdoors and stay there. Oh, that is.
Isn't that hilarious?
That is awesome.
I'm like, wow, who knew?
What do you know?
That's funny.
I want to sue them.
Unrelated.
Is there an attorney listening? Call right now. 1-800-SUE them.
But I thought it'd be interesting because obviously we love the saying and it works.
Absolutely, and that's where it came from. My dad didn't care one way or the other, inside, outside.
He's
he
like,
was just
what?
A smooth dude.
So was that, or our slogan was whatever.
Yeah, or you whatever. Show's over. Whatever.
Your slogan's listen to your mother.
Listen to your mother. Whatever.
Yeah, perfect.
We're done.
Well, good. It's good to be here tonight.
It's awesome. This is our vacation we take every week, 1 hour, episode 33.
Looking forward to it. And this is unique because we actually have a guest.
We do.
In the studio.
I have I posted that you're going to want to see this. We have a...
I cannot believe we have MC Hammer in the studio.
How awesome. Who knew that MC Hammer loved the outdoors? Can't touch it.
Well, he's broke. He's got nothing else to do.
He lives in a trailer here in Orlando. We salvaged him. We shined him up. R2-D2 was in the one behind me.
So introduce us here. Who do we
have
tonight
we have Steve Schulteitz sitting in on our show tonight. And let me tell you a little bit. We've talked to Steve on the air before.
We have, yeah.
We've talked. Steve is the one, I'm second mate to Steve. Now, when you fish, and Steve could attest to this.
You know what?
Uh-oh. You got this look on your face, Mike. What is it?
Steve, when we talked to you on the phone tonight, I did not put the two and two together.
Stop.
I'm quite embarrassed.
Are you?
Yeah.
Shame on you.
I didn't realize. I don't know why.
Well, hey, Mike, me, Steve. Again.
I haven't met Steve before. I love Steve, but I didn't realize that night, for whatever reason, when we were talking to him on the phone.
Really? Okay.
I was thinking I had never met that gentleman.
Oh, yeah, you met him.
Steve, glad to meet you. Sorry, as you were.
So, Steve, going offshore, in my early days of going offshore, probably, I think I started going offshore, I'm like 8 or 9 years into this now. something like that. That was the first time I met Steve. He was first mate on our other buddy, Paul, the one that calls in and gives us our fishing report, which I spoke to him earlier, and we'll talk about that here in a few minutes.
That maybe he actually might call and give us a fishing report.
Yeah. So Steve, watching Steve on this boat going offshore for the first time like that, watching Steve work and how he worked, I thought, man, that is freaking awesome. So every time Paul went out, I went out, and Steve taught me a little something more every trip. So now I'm first mate on Manny's boat, the one that calls in. So I'm Manny's first mate, taught by Steve. So Steve, when we're on Paul's boat, Steve's the man. I just do what Steve says. Steve says bait the hook, we clear the line, and that's, he can shake his head, but that's I mean, you give, Steve's been doing this for years.
That's fantastic.
I mean, years and years. And so, I mean, there's a lot to be learned from. And if people are listening, I mean, if you fish with someone, it doesn't matter if you're offshore, inshore, bass boat, and you have that someone that that's teaching you a little something each time. And remember when I talked about this many times, you got that mental tackle box.
Yep.
And the more you put in that mental tackle box, that's just as important as every piece of gear that you have in any of your physical tackle boxes. Knowing mentally, being able to change up. I've seen Steve say, okay, let's change colors. And he'll reel these reels in, and he's not comfortable with the colors. He'll change colors, and pow, we start catching fish. So sometimes it's those colors, and that's the mental tackle box. If you just stick to one certain pattern, one thing, then you're going to find yourself,
all the experience that you're
that's the experience,
upstairs,
yeah.
Right.
And anytime you have someone, like Steve or anybody that you fish with, or what I call the seniors of what we do, the more you learn from them, obviously,
sure,
it's invaluable. It's absolutely invaluable. And I know when I go out with Manny, our next trip, Manny, he even told me, he goes, Manny, I want to start learning. Because remember, 5 short years ago, Manny didn't even know how to hold a fishing pole. I mean, it sounds funny, but now he's
winding backwards, huh?
Well, exactly. Flipping the pole upside down. So now he's saying, okay, he's reached that next level where he has a comfort level, where he, now is ready to take that next step. He's got the navigation down pat, and now he's ready to take on the next step. So he can start, because there's just going to be times where I'm not going to get to go.
Yeah.
Something's going to come up, and he don't want. Now he's hooked on fishing. That's a show in itself, hooked on fishing, and he's going to want to take him and his wife out, and his wife, I know, is Stacey, is absolutely hooked on, addicted.
Yeah, for sure.
They're both totally addicted. So, excuse me, but I'm not going to get to go every time. So they're going to want to start tackling this themselves. The little tricks and the trades, which we're going to do some podcasts on.
Cool.
Excuse me, on the baiting of the ballyhoo.
Steve
taught me how to do the ballyhoos. Where you've got the ones that are pre-rigged and they're expensive, and you don't need that. You really don't.
This stuff goes so deep, doesn't it?
Dude.
Every little topic can splinter out into 12 different.
Yeah, it's just like one after another.
I'm going to say this right now, because Steve's got to come back, and we got to get a microphone over there.
Yeah.
That gentleman is a wealth of.
Yeah.
Depth of.
That's exactly right. So yeah, every branch, every tree has its branches, and every branch has a story.
Just a ton of them, yeah.
And it's never ending. I tell you, the fisherman that stops catching fish is the one that stops learning.
Yep.
If you stick to one single pattern, you stick to one thing, you do one thing, that's where you start catching fish. That's when you go out and you go, we didn't catch anything today. It's because you did the same thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That pattern may not work the same way every single day. And, when Paul calls in the show, and Steve can attest to that, it's just, you've got to, there's times when we went out and Steve say, okay, trolling's not it, let's go bottom fishing. And then, we start pile driving fish, bottom fishing.
5 feet. Instead of fishing on the surface, fish 5 feet below the surface.
Every little bit makes a difference, huh? Wow.
Yeah, so basically, if you couldn't hear him out there, basically Steve's saying every foot makes a difference. If you're fishing on the surface, drop that lure 5 feet and do something. And that's why they have downriggers and planing boards, and it's just, I mean, it's literally, what's the word I'm looking for? It's an ant bed. You see an ant mound?
Is that really the word you were looking for?
No, but that's the best I could come up with.
You searched and you hunted.
How'd I do?
You came up with.
I'm thinking outdoors, Mike. I'm working with me here.
So what have you been up to lately?
So, man, I'm on vacation this week, so I've been doing just side stuff this week.
Okay.
I do a lot of side work. I keep myself busy. To me, vacation is more work. You know, stuff that I like doing or want to
Catching up,
do.
yeah. I mean, you got to cram it all into that one week that you have to yourself, right?
Exactly. I really don't know what to do with myself with quiet time. So I'm doing a tile job. I'm doing some tiling. So, you know what? You can even call the show and ask us about that.
Well, we've been able to shut down a little bit. You and I went and did that fishing out on the Econ River.
Did we?
Yeah, we did. Oh, Steve's gonna love this story.
Uh-oh. Yes, we did.
We decided to do some river fishing rather than some lake fishing, and Rodney literally had like 2 buckets worth of fish.
2.
And don't you know, here comes the game warden. I didn't even know game warden patrolled the rivers.
Right. Oh, they're everywhere.
Oh, yeah, I know. So they come up and they asked Rodney, you know, can they see your license to catch those fish? And of course we left our wallets back in the car. Of course, Rodney, rather than going, hey, you know, let me walk back and get my license, he pipes up and says, those are my pet fish. And I'm like, this will be interesting. He said, those are my pet fish. And he says, what I do,
every day I take my pet fish for a walk in this bucket.
I bring them down. I let them go into the lake. And I whistle. When I whistle, they come. Give us that whistle, Rodney.
Fishy, fishy.
Yep.
There's a little call.
So when I whistle, they come right back and get in the bucket.
Get in the bucket, and I take them home.
And the warden's actually like, oh, that's a bunch of hooey.
Yeah.
The fish can't do that.
Let me see this.
I know. And I couldn't believe the guy actually said hooey. So Rodney's like, yeah, check this out. You know, Rodney, check this out. So at that point, he goes over the river, dumps his 2 buckets of fish back into the water. And we're just sitting there waiting.
And the game warden stares at me.
I know. And he's like, well?
He looks at me like, okay. I said, okay, what? He said.
And he's like, when you going to call him back?
Whistle for your fish. I said, what fish?
That's right. That's right. I said it.
That's how that went down. You can't fool us, Mike.
I know.
We're on this one.
So, anyways.
So, this
Happy
week in the
vacation,
news,
man.
Mike
Yes.
Coy.
What's in the news?
Did you see that there is a shark in a pond in Brevard County?
Really?
I'm talking freshwater pond.
Don't tease me.
It's a 4-foot shark in Brevard County in a park. Someone let the shark go in a park.
Like a practical joke or something.
It's a bull shark, so it's living well. I mean, you know.
Because they'll live anywhere.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Bull sharks are one of the
Catfish.
few sharks that can actually live in fresh water.
It's like the catfish of the shark family.
Pretty much, I'd say. I mean, it's and the meanest. They're the
really?
high. Oh God, their testosterone level is so high that they just get mad and attack because of anger. Not many sharks do that.
Huh.
You know, most sharks will shy away. And here tonight's gonna kind of go on our topics. I'm gonna talk a little bit about sharks, and obviously we're gonna talk about alligators because we have Steve here, and this is his first year with alligator tags. But we're gonna talk a little bit about sharks, and Steve and I, I've got a little shark story that Steve and I saw this giant shark. But, you know, we'll get into that. And so man, freshwater, and they called the trappers, which, you know, the Florida State trappers. They're there to trap anything, raccoons, gator, whatever. And he just can't seem to get this shark to bite in this pond. That's probably going to be hard to catch that thing out of there. So eventually they'll nab it and they'll let it go in the ocean and let it go on its way. But they'll have to acclimate it from the fresh to the salt. You can't just go one to the other.
Oh yeah, I didn't even put that connection together.
Yeah, it has to be reintroduced.
Well, no wonder.
To the salinity very slow. Like if you take that
it's taken out of its saltwater environment and thrown into fresh water.
Yeah, it could have been very young when it did that, or who knows? A bird may have caught a baby bull shark and dropped it. And, there's really no way to tell. But if you go to Bass Pro Shop and you see their big giant fish tank here in Orlando, even that water has a slight bit of salinity. Because even bass and redfish, they can live in fresh. Like if you go to these homosasses and your crystal rivers and your swannies, you have sharks moving up, up and down. You have snook. I mean, I've been in Homosassa, and Steve can attest to that. Way up in Homosassa and where the springs start, and seen snook and redfish and sheephead and mullet. So they can acclimate. They just have to acclimate a little at a time.
Very
so
cool.
It's all fish can do that, or most fish anyway. But you just can't grab it and throw it in a fish tank and just say, hey, you're a freshwater fish now.
Yeah.
They don't do well with that. They have to have that change. They'll go belly up, exactly. You ever flushed a 30-pound snook down the toilet?
Nope.
No fun at all. Better to fillet.
Did you see the latest on Catherine? She's moving into the Gulf, and she's an active.
Oh, she's on the Gulf side now? Really?
Yeah, by Panama City and stuff.
No, I did not see that. That's actually, I meant to check on her. You have her on your you have an app for it, don't you?
And she actually has I don't know if it's her Facebook page. I don't know if she updates it personally, but somebody's updating it for her.
We hope it's not her.
But today, I mean, as of today's June 24th, right? At 2:42 p.m. was the last ping.
And so where was that at?
In the Gulf, just south of Panama City area.
Really?
Yeah.
So she's
kind of binging around out there.
Wow.
She went up the coast.
Here's the thing, and this is a point that I want to bring up, and Steve, I'm going to get into the story that Steve, we were offshore.
Somebody says she's eating all the red snapper the government won't let us catch.
No doubt. Remind me of the case of the week, by the way.
Or she's a woman. She can't make up her mind where she's going because she's just bouncing around.
So, we're offshore. We're fishing. This is probably...
Is this a story?
Well, it's not really a story, but
Have you got a story for later?
Yeah, I do have a story for later. Remind me of...
Because we're going to play the grab bag music game.
Uh-oh. Yeah, we're off. So we were offshore fishing probably 5 or 6 years ago. I want to say probably a rough guess. Our memories are shot. So Steve and I are watching our lines. Steve is a line watcher, and this is how he sits. This is Steve. He's watching the lines, and he's looking for weeds and grass, and sometimes sailfish will put their bills up and they'll knock the baits down, and you got to drop your lines back, and they'll swash at them, or you'll see a bull dolphin just come in sideways at these baits, and you'll see their heads poking out. So there's a ton of things to watch for. Well, Steve and I are watching. I'm watching for what Steve's watching, and the boat's up and down. So, and then I look off to the left, and Steve looks off to the left, and we look at each other, and there's a fin sticking out of the water, probably 16, 20 inches.
More, Rodney.
It's
bigger.
It's ridiculous.
3 feet there, probably.
Yeah, and we both looked at each other and went, "Oh my God,
really?
What a shark!"
From a sailfish.
No,
it was a shark.
Oh, it was a shark. Now, Steve, we couldn't, it came up, we watched it come into our spread. We thought it was actually going to get hooked on something, and then it disappeared. And I was thinking, and I'm throwing this at Steve, I bet we saw a great white, because they're starting to see a lot of great whites.
Really?
And Steve's
thumbs up
from Steve saying that's probably, it just hit me not too the other day that they're seeing them in Jupiter. If they're seeing them down in Jupiter and Stewart and right here in Port Canaveral, we were in Fort Pierce when we saw this. So I'm convinced that we saw a great white due to the sheer size. A bull shark just doesn't get that big. I've seen 10, 12-foot bull shark, 10-foot bull shark's about the biggest I've seen, and his fin was nowhere near what we saw. So I'm convinced now, years later, that what we saw was a great white shark. It was giant.
There's absolutely no reason it couldn't have been.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. There's nothing else that large.
It's only because of our tagging capabilities now, and we've got the technology that we see these things.
Exactly.
There's absolutely no reason.
Which is going to bring me into my next point. We
don't know that Catherine's the only one out there. She's the only one that's tagged in this area, right?
That's the thing. The more of these sharks we can tag, we don't know that Catherine's not from Africa. And if you know,
well, you got to listen to her talk.
That's true. Does she have an African? What is an African? Oh, an African accent is actually English. Some of the Africans are English. I had a buddy that was African. He was English. Had English accent. I had a buddy who's African. And he spoke like an Englishman. He says, I'm African, but you would never know it. So anyway, on the lines of that, a shark that big, we don't know that shark is not from Africa, or now they're allowed to feed sharks in Africa. And a great white shark, the one in Stewart or the one in Jupiter, came right up to the guy's boat. I mean, they literally. I don't think I've ever seen a shark just arbitrarily come up to the boat for any strange reason. Great whites are usually the only ones that'll do that. Am I right? I mean, have you seen a bull shark or anything? Nothing. I mean, all of your years.
No.
Yeah. If you
are the great whites protected?
They absolutely in the
They
state
are,
of Florida
okay.
they are protected. You can catch
Especially
them.
since it's tagged. If somebody does something to this, they're in big trouble.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
If someone kills this shark, it's a big deal.
Okay.
It's going to be bad news. So they didn't used to be protected, where they now are protected, and we're starting to see a lot more. We're starting to record a lot more because here's one reason. Like Steve and I saw that shark. We didn't know what it was that day, but let's just say we did. We could have said, hey, we saw a great white 6 years ago. We could have documented it if we knew for sure, if we knew our fins. We're not very good fin guys.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we need to study fins. But, a hammerhead will not cut that water like that unless it's after something. They rarely break the surface.
Oh, really?
Very rarely. And bull sharks are somewhat, your most common shark to break the surface on the surface like that is, I can't even think of one. I mean, maybe a bull shark, but it just didn't make sense for a bull shark there in that location that far out. We were 20 some odd miles out trolling.
Wow.
And poof, here's this shark. So now I'm convinced. All logics point to that being a great white shark. So, and like I said, let me see it.
Wow.
I'm overboard on this one.
That's fine. We're into the topic though, right? You're talking about sharks tonight?
Yeah, so we're going to kind of hit on sharks. Sharks was my thing. Alabama, there was a beach shut down. Absolutely shut down, just right there around that Pensacola area. That peninsula, not Pensacola. That peninsula there, the Mobile Bay and all that stuff, because of so many sharks. There was a group of sharks that they didn't say in the news clip exactly what the sharks were, but they did say that there were so many sharks that they shut the beach down. No, we didn't shut the beach down. We had a lot of sharks over here. We ain't scared them sharks here in Florida.
No.
And our buddy got bit last week while we were a couple of weeks ago. He got hoodoo down there, down South Florida. So, here's one of my points I wanted to make is, if we find out that those great whites travel from Africa, I mean, it doesn't make any logical sense why they would not, because you can see this guy was up near New York and North Carolina, Catherine, and now we have her on the Gulf Coast. I mean, I don't even know the miles of that trip, but we know the cobia do it. The cobia do that run every year. That's the cobia run. Now, it's a straight shot from Africa to us, via the southeastern, route. So they can feed and they can feed the sharks there. They can do whatever they want. There's really no regulations there. We have different regulations. So who's to say that those sharks aren't frequenting our waters and looking for that same thing? You know what I'm saying? And that's why we're seeing these small sharks approaching these boats, these 12, 14-foot sharks, 12, 13-foot sharks approaching these boats, because that shark in Jupiter came right up to their boat. Had no qualms, didn't attack it or anything, but just literally came right up to the boat. My question is should there be some kind of regulation all over the United States, all over the world, essentially, because of that reason? They're allowed to feed them in California. They're allowed to feed them in, we may be getting those sharks. We're not allowed to feed them here in the state of Florida. I'm not saying I want to feed them by any means. What I'm saying is we're getting that residual.
Sure. Yeah, we're having to deal with it.
And my prediction is, and it's a sad prediction, and I really don't want to, I don't even know if I want to say this, but my prediction is that we're going to see a great white attack in the state of Florida in the next 2 years. And that's strictly my prediction. I say that because we're starting to see we're starting to document a lot more sharks in the state of Florida a little closer to shore. I don't know if that's fair to say, and I don't want to be the guy.
That surprises me.
What's that now?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Steve was saying that they've always been here. We just, they caught one in Daytona. My gosh, in the '80s. I don't know if you remember that the guy had to cut the fish up to put it in the boat, and it was a giant, great white, and that was right off the coast of Daytona. That was when we were allowed to kill sharks. Because remember, in the '80s, we were still fresh off of Jaws.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Sharks got a bad rap on that. So, that's my feeling on that. These sharks, I think what we're going to find is these sharks are so transient. If whales will travel, from Alaska down to Hawaii, that route there, during their spring and fall travels, why wouldn't a great white go from Africa to the United States?
Yeah, absolutely.
So my thing is should we have a regulation over the world, some type of, hey, we can't feed those things, or can we feed them here? Because it'd be neat to have a shark trip off the state of Florida.
Sure.
I mean, I'd like to see a great white. I've always wanted to. Always. Or catch one, yeah, or for that matter, hook one up. So that's just kind of my feeling on that.
Well, it's interesting.
Your turn.
Because obviously they don't play by the rules. I mean, even when you were diving down in Islamorada, Catherine supposedly was in that area at the time.
Actually, you're right.
You're diving in the same waters. And there's no fences or boundaries.
Yeah, exactly.
They're just roaming.
I will
They're
say
nomads.
that, and I'm not going to call her out. And if a shoe flies in the in the studio here, that means she's listening. Mike's wife feels that where everybody dives, sharks are not allowed to come.
Yeah, it's a safety zone.
It's a safety zone.
If it's someplace the dive team has been before, then it's cool.
Yeah, the dive shop has designated this as a dive area, and no sharks are allowed.
There's no trespassing signs.
No trespassing because there are divers.
The fact is, it's open water,
And you know what?
And he was down in the Islamorada area just days before, so I don't know where he was at that day, but we're in those same waters. But so I mean, the potential of seeing these things, it's video after video now on YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely.
Having to sort through these things.
Well, now we have the GoPros. Most divers always have the GoPros or cameras or some sort of underwater filming device. Well,
that's what's happening as it was in the last 5 and 10 years, that just cell phones having cameras on them, so we're catching things that you wouldn't, babies' first steps to all these odd people getting hit in the streets. Just oddball stuff that we're capturing. Now it's going underwater because these underwater cameras are becoming so in everybody's hands. So everybody's diving.
And they're so cheap, anybody can get them. So everybody's suddenly, everybody's looking for that million hit YouTube. So the great white will do it. Me jumping in with a great white will do it too. Telling you, Mike, it's coming.
I know.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
So that's my shark bit. That's my shark rant. I just kind of wanted to go on. I think we're starting to see a lot more. Thank God. Honestly, it's good to see sharks. Sharks are healthy waters. We need those sharks. I've known. I think my buddy Manny had a friend that took him fishing, and they would beat these sharks over the head. And Manny didn't know the difference. Because this guy was like, this you're supposed to kill these things, and they, and Manny, not knowing any differences, Rodney, where are we at on this? Are we supposed to do this? Like, no, that is not what we're supposed to do.
Are all of the sharks protected?
Pretty much.
I mean, there's sharks in any of those?
You can catch sharks.
You get them into the boat and let them go, but you can't.
First of all fish are protected in the sense of mutilation and or just, you get those old-time fishermen that'll get a catfish out of the water and they'll hit it with a bat and they'll throw it away and say, I don't want a catfish. You know what? That's protected too. You cannot do that in the state of Florida with any fish, any wildlife.
Because they all have their limits and their sizes and
Absolutely.
the numbers you can catch, and even sharks. So
even sharks, absolutely.
So in that sense, they're all protected and managed.
Yeah, it managed. You hit it right on the head. So if you're out there and you're listening to this and you're a person that does that, shame on you. Show shame. We're just not that people.
Yeah.
We're just, Steve is not that guy, unless it's a lionfish. Then that's going in. Have you ever eaten lionfish, Steve? Have you? Is it good? Oh man, thumbs up with Steve. We're gonna do some lionfishing. We got a call coming in.
Should I answer it or is it?
Well, you should answer it. Are you ready for this one?
Give him a second, though.
Right on.
Usually we're
And we're on air.
nagging. Go for it.
Manny, how are you, buddy?
Good. How you doing?
I'm awesome, my man. You can tell we started the show a little bit late.
About you.
Yeah, I said we kind of got started a little late, and I told Mike, I said, we just got to text Manny. Show's not on.
Manny's our technical
He's
supervisor.
Absolutely. It's good to know somebody's listening.
It is.
How are you, buddy?
I'm doing good.
Are you home today, or are you somewhere across the country?
No, I'm in Boston. I'll be home tomorrow.
Boston. No, he's up there with the lobster, fresh lobster with the claws.
Funny you should say that.
Uh-oh.
I'm actually up here with great whites, too.
Oh, really? They got them up there as well?
No, actually, what I was calling about is, I don't know if you noticed this, but NOAA just the other day on the website had a scientific study where they've actually noticed a significant increase in the great white population in the Western Atlantic.
Really?
Yes.
Now,
so what you guys are seeing is just something that has been going on for quite a while, and I think the guys are on it. And NOAA.
And you know what? I think it's got a lot, obviously, to do with the climate change and the water temperature change, because we're seeing, fish react to all these temperatures. And first of all, great whites can go anywhere they want. Who's to say that this is not a migration every 50 years or every 100-year migration? We don't know this stuff.
But again, Manny, do you think it's changing, or do you think our availability to the data is more accessible?
Yeah.
I think it's a combination of everything. At the end of the day, for me, that'll be one hell of a catch and release.
Yes, absolutely. So you know what, Manny, when we're offshore and you hear me talk about great whites, you do realize that if we see one, things will most likely change. I see a 16-foot great white up by the boat, I'll say, no, don't worry about the mast, Manny. We'll just stick the GoPro in the water.
See, that's what I was calling, because I'm a little concerned about you. You always ask me for snorkel. Now you're certified. I'm not so sure if it's not part of certifiable. If I saw a shark that size, it says, we need a bigger boat.
That's it. That'll push you to get that bigger boat, wouldn't it?
Maybe.
So I was telling him earlier that, our next trip, you're wanting to learn a little bit about the baiting and all that good stuff. Am I right on that one?
Yes, I've been doing mostly the poly thing, just driving. So now I would like to just get a little familiarized with the fishing part of it as well.
Yeah, because Manny and I do all of our rigs that we learned from Steve and Paul. And
thank you, Steve.
Yeah, he said he gave a thumbs up. That we so Manny knows that aspect of it. He now knows what he has to have in order to get this rig. So now we have to introduce him to, or acclimate him to actually putting the bait on the hook, because it's actually a trick. I mean, there's a few things you need to do to get that bait to swim straight, or otherwise it'll just twist up on you. Excuse me, it's not natural. It doesn't look natural, and fish pick up on that right away. So there's some small tricks of the trade, and this is definitely Manny's definitely ready for the next step. And that way, like I said, him and his wife are totally addicted to this, and I'm not always going to be there, so they're going to want to be able to, Manny can still set it to helm, or Stacy drives the boat perfectly. She can set it to helm, and Manny can help. He can have 2 or 3 guys on the boat, and he can be back there rigging and showing people how to rig and say, hey, just let this out, and that kind of thing. And that's what you do when you have people on the boat. So it's just, it's nice to know how to do it, and that way you're not, destined to go to Sebastian Inlet every time.
When's the last time you were out, Manny?
Woo. It's been 2 months.
Fishing or just out?
Let's say fishing.
Oh, fishing, it's been a couple of weeks.
Okay. Did you go fishing? Did you go to Sebastian?
No, we just did intercoastal, maybe some net casting in the islands.
Okay.
Nice.
Some finger fish or whatever they're called.
Finger mullet?
And tell one. Yeah, that's it.
How'd you do?
So, well, the first day was good because it was calm. The second day, I caught the usual sunburn.
That's how it usually happens.
Yeah.
So, Manny's switching into what I would call phase 2 of the offshore deal. And that's learning not only your gear, but now the tackle aspect. How to connect the tackle and all that good stuff. So, we're in that section. So this weather this weekend looks horrible too. So it's just like now
great.
it's just it's a weather thing.
It has been crazy lately. I've got to tell you, it hasn't been for at least when we're off to go. It hasn't been that
and of course
that accommodating.
Yeah, and of course when you have a bigger boat, you can have a little more flexibility. But with the 24, it's kind of you're kind of limited. You know what I mean? You need another reason to get a bigger boat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like I need a toothache.
Yeah, exactly. Right on, my man. So you're in Boston. Are you eating lobster?
No, today I did good. No lobster. I did have chowder though.
Oh man. Now you know what? Okay, let me just throw this. Do they make good Boston chowder? Is that really that good up there? Because I'm a chowder connoisseur. I've never had it fresh out of Boston.
Well, it tastes like the one I can get back at home.
Okay, there you go. There you have it, folks. Live from Boston. Same stuff. Right on, my brother. Well, brother, you have a safe flight, man, and thank you for calling, my man.
All right, you guys have a good night.
All right, you too, brother.
Thanks, man. Good to talk to you, man.
Bye. See
ya. Let's see. I got a question that says, "Did you really do that with the game warden? Because I seen something like that same thing today." Said I was a true redneck. Well,
yeah, maybe not.
Maybe not. No, that was a joke.
I take some liberties every now and then.
Actually, we played into that one very well.
You just jumped right on board there, my friend.
Cool beans. So let's talk a little bit about alligators while we're at it. I mean,
let's do that. Hey, I've also got just so you know, I mean the technology, like we were talking about, it's more the accessibility of the data right now that gives us some of this information. I mean, there's even cutting edge technology they're working on that we don't even really know about, you know.
Right.
I mean, who knows how in touch we're going to be able to get with these sharks soon.
Well, now that they have this GPS, when they invented the invent of GPS is really set. Billfish, they have the Billfish Foundation.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm doing something with the Billfish Foundation right now. I haven't even told you yet. We're kind of working on something. And they have the same technology where they can track a billfish literally all over the continent. I mean, they are tracking these billfish as far or farther. And one of the cool things that they have is who's tagged the billfish that's caught the farthest away. So now, we've got the tagging system now. So when we catch fish, on Manny's boat, I with the Billfish Foundation, I got the tagging system. So now we can tag fish. So if someone catches that fish somewhere, even around the world, they can go online, look up the fish, and the demographics of the fish, or what's the word, the stats of the fish.
Yeah, exactly.
Are there when we caught it, the length, the weight, and all that good stuff. But now with GPS, every time that fish, no matter if it's a shark or a billfish or whatever they tag with that GPS, the minute it hits the surface, it sends that data back. So you don't have to wait for someone to catch it. Catching is just the average guy in the boat. I'm gonna tell him to call the show. So catching is just a way for the average Joe, should I say, to actually tag the fish and have some kind of record of it. So,
well, here's the other deal, Rodney. I think if you don't realize, they actually have the technology to. I mean, like how whales, they're trying to translate what they're saying.
Oh, that wasn't me.
Yeah, I got this one.
Do you?
Because we've actually got the ability now to actually communicate with sharks. So I've arranged for a special call tonight, and believe it or not, we actually have Catherine the shark on the phone.
Stop.
Catherine, are you there?
Yes, this is Catherine the shark.
Catherine, how are you doing?
I'm good. How y'all doing tonight?
Good, man. Thanks for calling. This is
No
actually a
worries,
surprise
no
for
worries.
Rodney. He didn't realize you were calling, but I knew we were
had
talking
no
sharks
idea.
tonight,
This is
so
so
I thought
awesome
this was
to talk to a great white shark.
Oh yes.
So where are you at
I
right
finished
now?
eating I'm over here by Crystal River area.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Holy smokes. I mean, do you realize that they're tracking you, that somewhere along the line they put a tag in you?
Yeah, they shoved it pretty deep in my dorsal fin.
Wow.
Oh, does it hurt when it goes in the dorsal fin?
Quite painful.
So you remember where were you at when they actually tagged you?
Over in Sebastian, I believe, or in that area.
Really? So I mean, you've been all the way
Yeah.
up to New York and back down to Sebastian, and of course your memory's probably
Yeah. A little on the cloudy side there.
I'm still amazed here.
I'm telling you, technology has advanced so
Oh, yeah.
far that actually right now they can change those sonar waves, I guess, into actual translated English dialogue.
That's amazing. That is absolutely. So, Catherine, just a quick question. On average, I mean, you're on the Gulf of Mexico right now. What's keeping you in the Gulf versus coming back around to the Atlantic side? I mean, is it the better fishing over there for you?
The water's a little cooler over here.
Oh, okay.
Eating a little more fish over here.
Nice.
But yeah, it's,
So what's
we're just venturing out.
what are some of the stranger things that you've seen during your travels? I mean, you see a whole nother world that we have no clue.
Oh my gosh, a couple of pots of gold here and there,
Wow.
ships all over the place. People just litter everywhere.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Literally,
yeah.
I mean, they're just throwing their gold.
Catherine, don't eat that
Yeah.
garbage. It's no good for you at all. We don't need to see you belly up.
So do you have, I mean, upcoming plans, or is there a method to your travels, or are you just roaming around?
No, just roaming around, just checking things out, just seeing what I could eat.
Okay.
Just venturing into new waters. We got a lot of people of us over here. A lot of other sharks. Great white sharks just roaming the area, just waiting to eat. Somebody.
Wow. So that is a good heads up.
Thank God you let that one out of the bag.
But here's the question. I mean, I know that you got tagged somewhere along the way, Catherine, and there's when we know of 5 or 6 other sharks that have been tagged. I mean, are there so many more that we don't know about, or is there really just a few in the United States coastal area?
Oh no, there's you see 1 or 2. There's about 7 or 8 more of us out there.
Oh wow, so
that you just don't see.
So you're just the tip of the iceberg.
Almost definitely. We've been out here for a long time. They're just now noticing us.
Okay.
Wow, that's Catherine. I'm speechless. I'm just totally speechless.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the other thing, I mean, no offense, Catherine, but you sound very masculine.
For a shark.
For a shark. Well,
Yeah.
And who would know?
Yeah.
I mean, it might just be the translating software. Is there anything, I mean, right now, actually, Catherine, you have a worldwide audience, and is there anything that you would like to say?
Most definitely. Just just keep the waters clean and
That's good.
just venture out just a little bit deeper and surf there, guys.
just a
So wait a minute, let me get this right.
bit
So you're
deeper.
wanting the humans to venture just a little bit out of the rope areas. So okay, Catherine. So we have a diver that is aboard in our group that the areas that are designated divers. Do you go to those areas, or do you know what those areas are?
Good question.
No, one of the people that was in our area not too long ago, one of us spotted one, but kind of poked us away from him, but not too often.
Okay. That's kind of good.
That's good. Yeah, that's very good.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, Catherine. As we track you, we'd love to just touch base with you time to time, if you don't mind being a regular caller on the show. Is that too much to ask? This is very strange.
No. Y'all can, I'll swim in and check in with y'all whenever you'd like. When would y'all like for me to flop in?
Well, any time actually.
Oh,
You're
gosh,
carte
yeah.
blanche there. I mean,
Yeah,
my
yeah,
friend.
carte blanche. Yeah, you just tell us where you are anytime.
I do have one question. Do you dial with your dorsal fin or
Your pectoral fin,
yeah, your
or
pec fin?
My pectoral fin sometimes, it gets, gets the job done. Where
All right.
Thank God you got one of those waterproof smartphones.
Well, I'll tell you what, Catherine. Thank you for calling.
Absolutely.
And this has been our pleasure. And
Catherine,
almost definitely.
I'm speechless.
I mean, if this doesn't get us a like or two on Facebook, I don't know what the heck
Nothing
will.
Absolutely.
So.
Just make sure that you swim out just a little, deeper in the surf there, and we'll take care of everything else.
We will pass the word along.
The word has been passed. Thank you so much, Catherine.
Catherine, hey, wait a minute,
Hey,
Catherine.
yeah.
This is your first time call, so I must goose the moose.
Yes.
May I, Rodney?
Yes, you may goose
Hang
the
on
moose.
here. Catherine the shark, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. Goosing the moose for you, Catherine.
Swim away, Catherine. Swim away.
Okay, y'all.
Talk to you.
Have fun now.
Thanks.
Well, that Mike,
Yeah, that's a little strange.
absolutely surprised guest. You surprised me with that one.
Wow.
I would have never.
Times are changing, my friend.
The technology has come so far, so far. Absolutely, hands down, one of the best calls we've ever had. What can I say?
I don't know how you top that.
You don't.
You- Freaking
You kids get outside and stay. I mean, that's the best I can do right there. Yeah.
No. Wheels have fallen off this one a long time ago.
So
what do you got coming up? You got a bowl-a-thon.
okay, so
coming
let's
up.
talk a minute about the bowling-thon. Right now, our bid, and here I'm gonna plot this up. I got it ready to go. It's like pow. Our bid right now is $125, and I'll tell you what.
So this is for helping out with cancer. It's
This
for Rock
is
Pink.
not. It's Rock Pink. It is. I'm gonna clarify something.
Yes.
It is not breast cancer research.
Right.
This is where someone with breast cancer that needs help can call them and say, "Hey, I need a breast exam.
Okay.
I need help with the bill. I need something."
Okay.
And they will help you. That's why they're here.
That's Rock Pink's.
It's rockpink.com.
Okay.
You can find us on eBay. You can go to RodneyRogers.com and find our link there.
Okay.
Or
go for it. I'll make it happen.
You
say it, I make it happen.
I meant
That's how
Facebook.
this works, Rodney.
I meant Facebook. You can go to Rodney Rogers Outdoors Facebook, and I'll keep reposting. Right now, here's what happens. If you bid on me and you win the bid, right now we're going to go to Gnarly Barley, which is one of our favorite places.
Yep.
They have amazing
Thumbs
food.
up. Yep.
They have amazing craft beers. Steve is also one of our beer guys. Steve brings us a flavor full of beers, explains them to us, IPAs and all these weird stuff that we don't even know, and breaks it down for us and really gives us a good selection. Well, Gnarly Barley does the same thing, except they have a license to do it. So it's
exactly.
it's these things, and what we're going to do is Trace at Gnarly Barley is going to set us up with a private table, private area, and we're going to have a beer tasting with some beers that you just can't get anywhere else. I mean, really very selective beers that he does not sell there. So this is over and above everything that everyone else will get, plus dinner with 6 people, and we're just going to chill out and have some fun. We're going to be adding some things later. Tomorrow I'm going to be calling 104.1. Russ with the Monsters. I'm going to be adding on some things.
Okay.
And then we'll talk about that.
And bidding ends what? The July
Next Tuesday.
2nd?
Next Tuesday.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, which is
no,
the 1st.
First. Second.
What's
third,
next
third,
Tuesday?
Fourth, fifth.
Friday's the 4th, so it'll be the 30th. Let's go. Next Tuesday, whatever next Tuesday
It
is.
Okay, Tuesday the bidding ends.
Yeah, it's the 1st.
Okay.
Next Tuesday, the 1st. That's the last day of bidding.
And not only the Gnarly Barley, but then they obviously go bowling with you as your
your
bowling
hey.
partner, right? And that's
Yes.
the event is a
They
bowling.
will bowl with us, so that's for you and 4 or 5 people, right? There's a team of 6 or a team of how many team of a team of 6. Is it 5? It's 5 or 6. So that'll be for your whole team, and then when you win that bid, then voila.
Voila.
I want to say voila. So you'll get that, and then of course I'm going to add some things during the week, and we'll see how that goes.
Cool. Well, last week we wrapped up with some survival tips
Yes, we did.
that I incidentally found snooping through your laptop because you left it at my house. Right?
Exactly. Yes.
And I was actually blown away because some of them are quite useful and helpful.
The bear, punching the bear in the eye.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I've got a few more
right on.
of your tips if you want to end with them.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
That'd be awesome.
So here's some more of Rodney's survival tips, okay? Simple things like you can make a signal fire by burning Adam Lambert CDs.
Yes.
I mean, that makes total sense, of course.
Absolutely.
You can fashion a canteen from a skull of another lost hiker. Or if he has a canteen, you can take that after you remove his skull. It's a little dark.
Orders,
I don't quite understand. Yeah, I know, but or you can fashion a hatchet out of a sharp, flat rock and twig. Cut some twigs and branches from a nearby tree. You can fashion them into a truck and drive to safety.
Yes.
I mean,
Low ingenuity.
I don't know what mindset you were in when you were coming up with these tips. You can use your shoes as mittens if your hands are cold. And if your feet get cold, maybe you should have considered not getting lost in the first place. I don't quite.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's all.
Cover yourself in mud. Perhaps some of your own. I don't know. You got really weird on this one. Stalk the night, killing and devouring your way to civilization. And once you've found civilization, you can conquer it. I mean, sometimes I actually worry about
the
you,
Joan
Rodney.
of Arc theory.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, a few more. We're getting to actually a few good ones here. You can punch squirrels to vent your frustration.
Because you're lost.
Yeah.
You get upset. It gets like quacky.
Exactly. If you brought a cow, you could milk it.
For cereal. If you find
Yeah, I
cereal in the
guess,
swamp.
but
Swamp cereal.
Yeah, I really started to worry about you at this point, though. Okay. But if you're injured, now this I knew was Rodney Rogers' best survival tip coming from the heart. If you're injured, you might as well sever the limb, because it makes for a really cool story when you get home. Anyways, that's you, because it's all about the story.
That's right.
Plus, you qualify for a handicap parking. So I don't know, Rodney. I don't know.
It's all elementary.
Yeah, I don't know. Worry about you. I don't know, but thank you everybody for listening.
Episode 33.
Yeah, please stick around. And next time, I think Rodney's going to show us some of his outdoor inventions, including the new Dicky Doo.
As my mom always said, and I'll say it a million times, you kids get outside and stay.